I like Dark Souls. In fact, I think it's very good. Not only that, but I especially like its menu and inventory system. My name is John from Senyata Studios, and welcome to the first, and possibly last, devlog for my project, Simple Souls-like Inventory System. Now, Simple Souls-like Inventory System, or SSLIS for short, is a near one-to-one replica of the Dark Souls 1 inventory system in Unreal Engine 5, a project that I've been working on for the good part of 1 year now. My goodness, that's a long time. After learning Unreal Engine development since about 2021 and having a few different projects under my belt, I really wanted to have a stab at something a little more ambitious as my first commercial project, that I could hopefully kickstart my career as a solo game developer and as an Unreal Marketplace asset seller. I'm absolutely in love with the Souls-like games, with my favourites overall being Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne and Sekiro. But especially the unique vibe and atmosphere of the original Demon's Souls and Dark Souls 1. I've always loved the kind of soft RPG mechanics that these Souls-like games have. Things such as calculating resistances or weapon scaling or damage protection versus strike/thrusts, you name it. I wanted to create an inventory system that was every bit as deep and meticulous. It may not seem like it, but in many ways a good inventory system and being able to customize your character is the most important part of an RPG game and the skeleton on which all other features are built. I've successfully created inventory systems in the past before, but it was never my main focus and has never felt as polished and feature complete as I would have liked. Here's the thing, you can really feel the difference when you play a game that has a lot of thought and care put into each part of its design versus something that was just hastily slapped together. These were my goals starting out on this project. I wanted it to be as faithful to the original Dark Souls 1 menu as possible, with all the bells and whistles. So that means a fully functional stat system, item descriptions, changing item order and menu, you name it. While the Unreal Marketplace is absolutely saturated with inventory systems, many of them are super bare bones and lacking features. Next, I wanted it to be built from the ground up for both gamepads and keyboard and mouse, which means seamless switching between the two, dynamic button icons, and changing keybinds. Likewise, it had to be fully modular and customizable. That means easily switching out buttons, icons, styles, layouts, sound effects, you name it. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, it had to look and feel right, with things like button queuing and input management, and also in terms of aesthetics and sound effects. I wanted to give it a level of polish that could make it truly stand out from the competition. I'd say the project is between about 60 to 70% complete. Comparing where I started from, literally a simple button panel that dynamically populated, to where I am now, with a fully functioning inventory system, looking through my GitHub commits is super encouraging to see how far I've come. For example, creating my own input detection system from the ground up for both gamepad and keyboard, bypassing the whole Unreal Engine 5 focus widget system, which may I say, absolutely sucks. I hate the bloody thing. Implementing a data-driven way of adding buttons and stats to the inventory instead of having to mess about with the blueprints themselves, which seemed like the most customizable and also mentally sane way of doing things. Not to mention accurately recreating the list-style inventory of Dark Souls 1 with item category switching on tab change and actions such as using and dropping items. It hasn't all been smooth sailing though. For example, spaghetti. So much spaghetti. My god. Getting my prototype complete as quickly as possible has caused my code to spiral out of control very quickly. very much due for a refactor. Likewise, totally random bugs resetting the UI due to part of my project following inventory state enumerations, and the other half basically being held together by duct tape and string. Checking conditions on UI visibility, random booleans, you name it. Needless to say, I'll be doing a big old refactor of everything when the time comes. Not to mention features that were just so arduously time consuming for no reason. Why the hell did it take one straight week of work to implement a simple custom scroll bar? My goodness, so needlessly complicated. Previously mentioned, I'm actually pretty far into development, so it shouldn't be longer than a few months before my plugin releases. But here's what's next. To start off with, the second character stat panel. Did you know I've played Dark Souls 1 for almost 10 years now and didn't even realise this was a thing? Likewise, implementing a functional stat system based on dynamic modifiers for calculations, which means some stats multiply other stats. Some items can't be equipped unless you have a certain stat, some are added together, and so on. Also implementing any remaining inventory functionality, such as equipping items visibly, animations, changing and resetting item order. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you liked the video, by all means, subscribe to my Patreon. I look forward to seeing you on release.